welcome to Front and Center Ice, presented by Run Pure Sports. I'm your host, JC Zargo, joined as always by Tanner Smith. Tanner, how you doing?
Not too bad. Enjoying the warm weather down here in Florida, not the snow up in the Midwest like Matty Ice is dealing with right now. So, yeah, happy I don't have to do that. Sucks for him, though, but glad to be here.
Yes, yeah. Nadesify is out today, and Matty Ice is dealing with some ice up there in Minnesota, so he's couldn't join us today. So instead, we got Jared filling in on the DFS side. Jared, thanks for joining us, man. How you doing?
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, but you're stuck with the C-list NHL DFS expert here today.
But even our C-lists are great.
Yeah, warm weather here too, which is nice in the Carolinas. Got some golf in earlier in the week, so feeling good. That. I know NBA is back, but NHL still is always around, and excited to give out some winners today.
Absolutely. That fixed my camera. As long as there's NHL being played, we got you covered. So huge slate of games today, pretty solid one. Coming off an eventful Tuesday, short slate yesterday, but we're gonna jump right into it, and hopefully my camera will figure itself out here. First game I got on my slate: Anaheim Ducks visiting the Washington Capitals. Tanner just informed me that Ovi is back tonight. Anaheim coming off that swamping served to them by Tampa Bay, so they'll be a heavy dog in this one in Washington. Puck line sitting at plus 105 for Anaheim. You know, Tanner, Washington is a team that hasn't been playing well. We all know how horrible Anaheim is. So where are you at on this one?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference tonight is Ovi being back in the lineup. I mean, the unfortunate passing of his father is why he was out the last week or so, whatever it's been. So he's going to come in fired up. I don't see a way he doesn't score tonight. I mean, Anaheim gives up an unbelievable amount of shots. I mean, I think they're averaging around 40 shots against. They just get absolutely hosed. Like you said, they're huge favorites. So I think you kind of have to parlay those together. Where did I see that? I lost myself. All right. Washington minus 1.5, you get minus 125. But if you same game parlay that with Ovechkin to score, which is minus 130, you get plus 160. I just don't see how he doesn't score. I mean, Washington's on a 5-game losing streak. This is a great spot for them to just come out absolutely flying. I think the energy he's going to give this team tonight is going to be enough to just absolutely bury this Ducks team. The only issue for them maybe if Gibby absolutely stands on his head like we've seen him do, but I just don't see that happening tonight with the energy that Ovechkin's going to be bringing into this locker room. He's going to be shooting the puck 80,000 times more than he usually does tonight.
I like it. That's a solid take. Now, you know, obviously don't want to jump on anytime goal for Ovi. It's sitting at minus 125 on FanDuel. But any love taking a shot at the 2+ goals for Ovi?
Yeah, when I went to pull it up earlier, I couldn't find it on there. But I would definitely be sprinkling a little bit on that. That's got to be around what, like plus 190 or so? Plus 200, yeah. So definitely something like that. Like he's going to be in the situation, if there's any empty net situation, which I don't think we'll get tonight. I think they'll be up enough that they can avoid that. But yeah, I don't mind that. He's going to get one in his regular shifting and stuff like that. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get that second goal tonight. So definitely don't mind sprinkling a little bit on that.
I don't really get how
you could also go over 1.5 points is plus 145.
So yeah, there you go.
That's a great move right there. I like that a lot. I don't really understand how FanDuel uploads these props because you look at different times. They got like different offerings. Like normally you can just grab any player for any amount of shots. Right now that's not available.
Yeah, earlier when I looked, they didn't even have like half the lines for the Wild and Blue Jackets game.
Yeah.
They just didn't have them up.
So, but hopefully if these get populated, we can grab like OV 6-7 shots, some plus money in there.
Definitely a lot of alt lines in play for him.
Yeah, really just look for any OV bet tonight. It's probably going to be a solid one. Did you say you were you grabbing that minus 1.5 or not because it's at minus money?
I think that's one of those things you can kind of parlay it, do the same game parlay with OV scoring. You get plus 160 for the puck line. Let me see what you get for the other one. If you just go money line, you get plus 105 for OV to score, Capitals to win. So I don't mind that at all. But yeah, like Jared said, if you're getting plus 140, whatever it was for OV 2 points, absolutely. He's going to have himself a night.
Oh, solid. Jared, huge slate today, so interested how you want to play this one. Is Ovi worth the price tag? Is there any other pieces you like here?
Yeah, I won't go crazy here like Nate's Fi is down there in the
No
chat.
kidding. He's popping off with the dogs.
I was gonna mention the same bet that Tanner mentioned. I definitely like that one. As he mentions, Gibson is always, a solid goalie. And they can put Anaheim on his head, but he still lets in goals because of how poor this defense is. So I'm not gonna say anything crazy to you about Ovechkin. I think he's very viable as a one-off as well. Looks like he's gonna slot in with that Kuznetsov line. They've actually not been great together when they've been playing on the same line this year, which hasn't been much. But I think a little two-man stack with Kuznetsov is interesting. You could even have something with, Tom Wilson there. The interesting thing is last time we saw Anaheim, honestly, we had that Tampa Bay situation, and they had goal scorers and points from all over the place. As Varg is dying over there.
Strangling his mic.
But that's the one thing I'm worried about is some random goals from all over the place. The points get spread out, and so I think I'd honestly probably just leave Ovechkin as a one-off in this situation. And it looks like Troy Terry is going to be back for Anaheim, which is obviously great for them. But I don't think I'm interested in anything from here. I think they could get 1 or 2 goals, because I'm not a big fan of Charlie Lindgren. But I'm going to stick with Washington on the side and probably do a bet like Ovechkin to score and either money line or the puck line.
Fair enough. Sorry for the interruption and ruining your set there, Jared. I didn't realize my mic was picking that up. But I'm all in the clear here. We're good. Reds' show should be much cleaner. Solid breakdown. Anything else to add on that one, boys?
No.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Next game I got here, a little bit more intriguing, but still a heavy favorite, is the Tampa Bay Lightning hosting the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo got trounced by Toronto last time out. As we just discussed, Tampa Bay wrecked Anaheim, so they'll be going for another win here at home. Kind of seems like a pretty straightforward shot here. I like Tampa. I don't mind that puck line, but Tanner, you got any love for the dog here?
No, Sabres have just been playing pretty poorly lately. In Tampa, they're just playing so well on home ice. I mean, I know Buffalo's just been getting throttled here and there with the Leafs the other night. I mean, 4-0 first period. So I think they play a little better than that. But yeah, no love for them as far as the outright. I do think we see a ton of goals here. The over sitting right at 7 on DraftKings. You get plus 105. First time these teams met this year, it was 5-3 Tampa. Second game was 6-5 Tampa. So the Lightning with that over, if you parlay let me load this up here. I lost it there. The Lightning money line with over 6.5, you're getting plus 140. I know it's kind of what we did with the Devils the other day, and they absolutely shit the bed against the Canadians, but I just don't see this game going under 7 goals. Both these teams light it up. Buffalo's an offense first team. They're not great defensively, and we know what Tampa can do. I know Vasilevsky's in net for them, but I can absolutely see Tage or Tuck or somebody getting, 2 or 3 goals here. So I think we see a similar result to these last couple games where we hit that 8 or maybe 11 goal total like they did last time. But I really like that as a different way to get some value out of the Lightning money line, because I certainly think they win tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Comrie is confirmed in net for Buffalo. So, I mean, I'm sure the Lightning are going to light him up. No pun intended there. So over 3.5 goals for Tampa, not a bad look, but I mean, with the payout on the over 7 is kind of a more straight way to play that one. Jared, didn't mean to pass up Greg's question. So before you break down this one, quick question on that Washington. Do you like the power play stack there?
Yeah, I think it's viable. I don't think it's a main line build, but I think if you do something like Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, Gustafsson, I think that's a solid 3-man there for a power play stack. But I would leave that to more of like if you're building 3 to 5 lineup range.
Sure. And then given the price tag on these guys, what's your love like for the Lightning?
I love the Lightning tonight. I think this is a great spot for them. I really like that Braden Point, Kucherov 2-man. I think you can even do a Hagel in there for a 3-man. So Stamkos will probably go up against that Tage Thompson line. They'll play the shutdown role at home, and so I like that Cooch and Point will get the opportunities to go up against these second and third line Buffalo guys. Braden Point right now is minus 110 to score on DraftKings, which usually when I see a line like that for a guy that isn't like a top star, that probably signals to me that he's probably a good play in daily fantasy. So that's how I utilize some of those goal scorer lines to use for daily fantasy. So I really, really like Point Kucherov tonight. Definitely a mainline consideration. On the over, I know Tanner likes it. I would like to see the official announcement of goalies night, whether it's Elliott or Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky being in there will probably take me totally off of Buffalo. One little call out, I think Dylan Cousins is always a solid cash game play. He has a great floor. He usually, gets 3 to 4 shots, like a block or two, stuff like that. And so he usually finds himself in that 10 to 13 point range, which is solid for cash games. But other than that, I just love Tampa tonight. I think even a power play stack, since Buffalo's penalty kill is horrid, I think you can definitely go with something like that. Add in Hedman. If you even want to go full on out, you could throw Stamkos in there and do a four-man stack for sure.
Solid. Yeah, I really didn't have much for this game just because it's other than the over. I think the over is the best way to go. I could see Sabres. I don't. Yeah. Said all there is to say, really. Everything I thought was pretty much echoed by Tanner, so I'm not going to go further. We'll just move along. Edmonton Oilers visiting the Pittsburgh Penguins. A little bit more of an evenly matched game as this one's set at a pick'em. Being played in Pittsburgh, you kind of got to give the Penguins an edge, but they've lost 3 in a row. Edmonton, they look like they might be getting their juice back after beating the Flyers. So before tossing it to the homer, Jared, you tell me what you like on this one.
Well, don't forget, I'm a homer too.
Are you? Oh.
Yeah, I'm a Penguins fan as well. But I try my best to take the bias out. I probably wouldn't go on a game side here. I think it's hard to choose between the two teams. In terms of the total, I'm actually going to go on the under. So since 2019, they've played together against each other 6 times, and the average goals in those games is 6. And you're probably saying like, okay, well that's really high. I just think at 7, that's a lot of goals to be had there. I think it's possible it gets to 7, and hey, if you get the push, you get the push. But I think it's very possible that this one can go under that total. And as I've looked over the past couple games, it looks like there's always one team that dominates the other in these matchups. There's been a lot of 5-2 games. The one this year was 6-3 in favor of Edmonton. But it's typically one side taking control. Now, the hardest thing in this game is the pricing for daily fantasy. Connor McDavid's gotten up to 9.5. Draisaitl's not bad at 7.7, but if you're starting to put in stacks there, you're making it rough on yourself for the rest of the slate. I think there is some good cheap line options to go to match with them, but I'm probably going to avoid this spot in terms of pricing. I just think it's too hard. I would look to the other side. I think that Sid's line is definitely in a decent spot. The only problem, they'll be probably going out against that McDavid line, so they'll be chasing them a lot. So I do like that second line as well as their power play. So something like a Malkin, maybe Raquel power play stack, or Malkin with Sucker or Rust, I think is also viable as well. I'm not super high on this game. I think it's really hard. Everything's very spread out right now, and I just don't think I can get up to the pricing on that first line. And it looks like they've been changing their lineup, so what they had this morning is different now. So now it looks like Derek Ryan was pushed up to the first line with McDavid and Draisaitl, and then Nugent Hopkins is with Hyman, which they haven't gotten a ton of time together. So I'm just going to probably lean towards the Penguins and the under.
All right, fair enough. I got a lot of thoughts on this game, but I want to get Tanner's opinion first. So Tanner, you let it rip, and then we'll see if we're on the same page or not.
I'm glad you do, because I don't know what to make of this Penguins team. They just refuse to play defense. I don't mind the under here, as Jared was saying. Plus, after last game, that blow up they had in the third period against the Islanders, I think Sullivan definitely gave them a talking to in the locker room after. There's no way Crosby's happy. He's one of those guys who, like Nate McKinnon, is just a lunatic competitor. So he's definitely in the locker room yelling at guys. So I do lean a little bit on the under here, but again, I really don't know what to make of it. If anything, I'd like to look at, I wish I knew what Edmonton's lines were more, because I would definitely be going towards that second line, because like we've seen the last couple of weeks, the Malkin line just does not play defense. So whoever got on them would definitely be having a lot of scoring chances. So if it is that second line of Hopkins and Hyman, I do like either of them as a goal scorer. Hyman's plus 138. Ryan Nugent Hopkins is plus 210. It just depends. They're both on that top power play as well. I mean, Edmonton just kind of shuffles around their top 6-7 guys, just kind of all willy-nilly. But with Evander Kane out, both of those guys should be seeing a few more minutes. I do prefer the Penguins here just because they're on home ice. And like I said, I think that they're going to try to tighten things up a little bit, but I've just seen them let me down far too many times to really confidently say that they can win this matchup. And just looking at the matchup, everything about them is green, both scoring and defensively. So this could be a shootout, or I could see it being a 3-1 type game with the Penguins locking it down. Or if the Oilers win, I think it's like, one of like the 6-3 game we saw last time in Edmonton. So I really couldn't make heads or tails. I struggled with this. I hope the Penguins win. They need a win, but I don't really know.
All right, fair enough. I'm on this one with Nadesify. Historically, that's the right side to be on too. I just, especially with the goalie matchup of Skinner and Jarry. Jarry's a stud. Skinner has been way more consistent than Campbell this season, so I really like that matchup. So I'm with Jared. I think the under is a great play here. And seeing the line at a pick, I'm like, I don't know how you can't not take Edmonton given the way they've been playing, because while they have been losing, they are scoring at will. Jarry will slow that down a little bit, but I think Skinner can kind of give him the edge to pick up the win. And honestly, seeing that puck line at plus 210, minus 1.5. I'm sorry. That's Pittsburgh. I'm sure it should be similar, but yeah, at plus 200 on a minus 1.5 puck line, I'm probably going to be on that tonight. Paints Arena is a tough place to play, but I do like Edmonton here tonight. That's my pick.
The interesting thing is I think there's a theory out there that I think we've talked about in Discord before. The Oilers struggle a lot when Evander Kane hasn't been in the lineup. I'm not sure why that is, but against good opponents, earlier in the season when they didn't have him, they were losing games left and right without him against playoff teams. So I think he's a huge loss for them for sure.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Anything else on that one, gentlemen?
Nothing. Go Pens.
No, I just don't want to be disappointed again.
Fair enough. Next game on the slate, LA Kings visiting the New Jersey Devils. Kings coming off a battle with the Wild. They lost 2-1. Jersey coming off an ugly loss to Montreal. So they're hoping to rebound here. Jersey's slipping a little bit in the standings. They're still hanging tough, number 2 in the Metro, but kind of got to keep it on the right track as they gear up for the playoffs. LA is a team. They're coming on strong. Honestly, they're one of my favorites to take the West. I just think with the experience and this progression they've seen throughout the season, I think they're a solid squad. I give them the edge here tonight. Tanner, though, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, this is another one I had a hard time really kind of deciding who I prefer here. Obviously, the Devils being on home ice, it's hard to fade them there. I was looking at like the matchup sheet and everything. They're just so similar. They score a very similar amount of goals. They give up the same amount of shots. They take the same amount of shots. Power plays are very even. Penalty kills are both very effective. So I had a really hard time deciding this one. I was trying to think of how New Jersey would come off of that game against the Habs the other night. Yeah, they lost, 5-2 or whatever it was, but they absolutely outplayed them. They outshot them 40-18. So that's just, I don't know how a team responds to that because you absolutely were the dominant team and you still lost. So it's definitely a heartbreaking way to go down. I have no interest in this one just because I don't know, but I have no issue with someone going to the Kings. I think someone like Jack Hughes is always in play as far as a goal scorer, his points prop. He's just an absolute stud, and he's going to avoid a lot of the Anze Kopitars and Philip Deneaus tonight. So I think you can definitely go to him for any of the points props. But for the most part, I think you can kind of lean either way on this one. I think I know both teams are allowing a lot of goals here, but I think we see more of a tighter game with these two teams. It's just I don't mind the under at 6.5. You get -115. I think this is going to be a solid hockey game overall. But yeah, I really couldn't get a good read on who I think comes out on top.
All right, fair enough. Copley should be in net against Vanacek. Tanner expected it to be a little closer game. So, Jared, you got any love for the keepers in this one?
Yeah, I like Vanacek. I think he's a solid playing GPPs tonight in goalie. I agree with Tanner. I think this will be more of a grinding game. For some reason, like the Kings have been scoring so well, and their goaltending, it was like complete opposite. At the beginning of the year, their Copley was playing well and they couldn't score, and now they can score, and now Copley and Quick are playing bad. So they can't put everything together all at once. So I do lean New Jersey in this matchup. I don't know if I'm going to get to it in a mainline consideration. I think Jack Hughes is always in play. Obviously, Heishire's going to grab that top line for the Kings and play the shutdown role, which will allow Jack Hughes to hopefully get the third line. I will be worried if he ends up going up against Denault because that line's been pretty good defensively, which scares me a little bit. But I do like him in Brott a little bit. Brott's probably one of the best line mates that he's had this season. He's been stuck with a lot of guys in that 3K range, and so it's nice for him to be able to play with someone a little bit with more talent. In terms of the other side, I could see them getting like 2, maybe 3 goals. I do like that Denault Arvidsson combo. I probably won't get to them in daily fantasy, but Arvidsson's +260 to score, and Denault is 310. So I think taking a stab on one of the two of those to score, I'm a fan of that on the betting perspective. Daily fantasy, I don't know. It's hard. I do like Hughes, but there's so many other great spend ups, so I probably won't get to it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I would think this is a tough game to play in DFS just because it does have such a high likelihood of being, like a 2-1 game, as we saw with the Kings last time out.
Yeah.
Keeping on that note, Minnesota at Columbus. As we just said, Minnesota coming off that battle against the Kings. An interesting one here as they're in Columbus. Not as big as a favorite as one might expect, as Columbus has come out hot out of this All-Star break. Their defense has brought it up to a next level. They're allowing less than 2 goals a game since returning from break. They've won. They're 500, but they're playing great. They're keeping the scoring down. So I don't really know what to make of this. I don't know if this is the new Columbus squad. I mean, this is more in line with what we expected to see out of them this season. But do you like them to keep it up at this pace?
Is that for me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Minnesota's gotten off to a good little streak here. We were talking about it last week at this time. They were struggling to just score, and they still are. For some reason, they just cannot get past that 2 to 3 goal mark. They have not exploded. So that Jenner line is going to be up against the top line. I don't mind Kaprizov as a one-off. But I would use that more for if you're doing a lot of lineups. There's too many good wingers that you can stack up with their pairings. So I would probably not go that first line. I do kind of like the combo of Eriksson Ek and Matt Boldy. They both get that top power play run. And I always love getting Eriksson Ek on a night off from shutting down. So when he's on the road, he doesn't have to play that shutdown role, which is always great for him offensively. And I've loved with him and Boldy since they've been playing together. They have a lot higher expected goal average since they've been put together. So I like that two-man combo, top power play run, which is nice. Nades, if I just mentioned it in chat, I also like Alex Goligoski. He's playing on the top power play, and he's at 3-1. So super cheap. And Columbus takes a decent amount of penalties, and their penalty kill is not great. So I definitely like him, even though he gets 15 minutes. One guy on Columbus that I definitely like is I've been playing him a lot for some reason, Andrew Peak, with guys injured or sitting for trade rumors or whatever. He's been playing a lot more minutes, like, getting up to 22, 23 minutes sometimes. And he has great shot blocking upside. He's been on that penalty kill one unit. So I like him a lot.
Right on. Tanner, man, I'm loving the under here, given how both defenses have been playing. But given how totals do on this show, my love for the under makes me feel like I should go over here. So tell me where you're at.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking that too. I like the under here just because Minnesota, they're great defensively, and they have been struggling to score. But funny enough, some of my favorite plays come from Minnesota's offense. I love Eriksson Ek tonight. I think, like Jared said, he's not going to be as heavily in that defensive role as we've seen. And like last show I mentioned, on the power play, he's the one getting a lot more shots than Kaprizov is. He's outscoring Kaprizov on that power play, which I know we all know Kaprizov, how great he is. But Joel Eriksson Ek is plus 194 as a goal scorer. I think he's going to get a ton of great looks tonight. The Blue Jackets, that top line's as good as any of them. Boone Jenner, Johnny Hockey. I think they're also together. Johnny Hockey and Patrick Laine. They might have bumped Laine down to that second line, but they're as good of a line as anybody in the league. So they can skate with anyone. So if they're playing against that Kaprizov line, then it should really open things up for Matt Boldy and Eriksson Ek. And I believe Hartman's on that second line right now. So, yeah, that whole line right there. I prefer Ek and Boldy as goal scorers. Boldy's plus 180, Eriksson Ek's plus 194. They both get that top power play run as well. And Columbus is giving up a ton of power plays or a ton of penalties. They are about 80% or 90% on the penalty kill, but Minnesota's 30% on the power play. So I do prefer Minnesota in this one, but just as an outright call, I do prefer the under at minus 120. You're getting 6 for that. I know it terrifies us because we've just been atrocious at calling those lately.
Yeah, we have.
But that's definitely the side I'd be more leaning on.
Right on. If we the people is on our side, I feel a little bit better about that play. So I'll probably end up pulling the trigger on that. Quick reminder, we are presented by Run Pure Sports. Marquis, you're looking for us yesterday. We run every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 Eastern. Normally Saturdays at 9 a.m. We might be off this Saturday. Just got some boys on vacation, taking a much-needed break. So stay tuned for that. Might be up this Saturday. Excuse me. Do us a favor, though. Hit that like button. That's all we ask. We out here 3 times a week giving out the winners. And check us out at Run Pure Sports. Right now, you can get 15% off. You can use code Zargo15, Tanner Smith 15. Jared, you got a code?
Yeah, I think it's Jay Kimball 13, I believe.
Jay Kimball 15. And Jared, what's your at for the people?
It's at Jay Kimball 13.
Boom. Give him a follow on Twitter at DaddyZargs, at Tanner_Smith21. We do appreciate it. Always giving out love, always giving out winners. So do us a favor, hit that like, give us a follow, but we keep chugging along. Anything else, gentlemen, on that game before we move along?
Nope, I'm good.
Fair enough. New York Rangers taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit's a team that continues to be hot. They received a lot of love from us here at Run Pure. Rangers, they dropped 2 in a row, though. Looking to get right here. No Igor tonight, but Husso in that for Detroit. So, honestly, the Red Wings are a train. I might keep riding. Where are you at on this one, Tanner?
Yeah, I'm right with you. The Wings they continue to play fantastic hockey. And like you said, no Igor for the Rangers. the Rangers give up a ton of high danger chances. I mean, they're almost 16 a game. I know Detroit doesn't generate that many, but Igor's basically been bailing this team out of a lot of goals. I mean, we've seen that all this year. We saw that last year. It's not a new thing. And just the way the Red Wings are playing, plus 130 on home ice. I love a home dog, especially a home dog that's playing this well. I mean, they're coming off a very, very successful road trip. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. I mean, they went on a road trip, destroyed Vancouver, took down Edmonton, Calgary. They beat Washington on the road. Like, they're just playing great hockey right now. Larkin's definitely, I think, in play as a goal scorer. He had to pay a nice $5,000 fine after cross-checking Oshie to the mouth. He certainly deserved it after I saw the hit. He definitely deserved the fine, but he's plus 210 as a goal scorer. Home ice, a guy like that, he's just such a great player. I think he's an underrated goal scorer. He's just a great two-way hockey player. I really like him tonight, but yeah, plus 130 on the home Detroit Red Wings. I'm going to be all over that one. That's one of my favorite plays today.
Yeah, another play I got this one. I'm actually taking the under on Halleck saves. It's at 25.5. Red Wings, they kind of average right around 28 shots per game. I think quite a few are going to get past him. And I think the Rangers have a good enough D that the Red Wings shouldn't get much more, than shots on goal.
I don't mind that.
Yeah. Jared, what's your play here?
Yeah, for bets, I actually like one that I put together. It saves you from maybe a loss there at the end for the Red Wings. So you can go Detroit on the puck line plus 1.5 with Dylan Larkin to score. You get plus 275. So I like that one a lot. As Tanner mentioned, I think he's going to come off the getting kicked out of the game last time a little bit angry. 6'5" is a great price tag for him. I just don't love his line mates, so that scares me a little bit. And I don't know if I'm willing to use a Detroit Red Wing as a one-off. So, I think that would be more consideration of doing maybe a Larkin, Perron, two-man on, if you're doing a multi-entry contest. Jake Wallman for Detroit just chucks the puck. I put it in the playbook. He had 13.1 DK points last game, and he didn't have a point recorded in the game. So that just shows he's shooting the puck a lot, blocking a lot of shots, which is something you definitely want from your defenseman. So at 3.9, I really like him. And I saw some people mention this in chat. I like that Rangers second line, Trocheck, Panarin, Tarasenko. Since they got put together, they've been playing really well. And Panarin saw his 7-game point streak end on Monday, but I think this is a great situation for him here. And he has a good history versus Detroit. And their expected goals just keeps going up and up after each game that they've played together. So I like taking a stab at New York 2 here against Detroit, especially in this matchup with Husso, who has played well. I'll give it to that. But I think this game goes over between Halak and Ned and Husso against this Rangers team that I think has some firepower, honestly.
Right on. Solid. Worth noting, if I can get my scroller. Nate Defy on Husso tonight seems like a great play here. Can't argue with that. Anything else on that one?
No.
Cool. Calgary Flames visiting the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas lost to Chicago in a shootout. Did you guys see that last-second goal by Kane, though?
Yeah.
Game should have ended in overtime.
Yeah, it was tight there.
Yeah.
That was wild. There was one of the only so rare you see a buzzer beater in hockey. Only other one I could think of was the one Carolina had in their Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
But that was brutal. Kane, he's bringing the Chicago team up a notch. They've been playing so well, but we're not here to talk about Chicago. We're here to talk about the Golden Knights. That game ended their winning streak. They'll try to kickstart another one today against Calgary, a team that, quite frankly, has been playing that well. They have not met expectations this season. So Vegas, though, they're only a slight favorite at home. Kind of feels like a smash spot with how this team has been playing. Few guys I like, a few great plays, but Jared, I'll let you start, man. Who are you targeting on this?
Yeah, this is an interesting game. Calgary's just been so rough lately. I'm sure Sutter is just going absolutely nuts. He probably wants to kill the whole team. And Joda actually put it in the Discord earlier. The Flames are looking for their first win against Vegas. They're 0-7 lifetime when they go on the road to Vegas, and they've been outscored 30-8 in those matchups. So they've definitely struggled on the road in Vegas, which is not looking good for them. In terms of daily fantasy, I just don't know if I can get to this one. They both have very spread out scoring. All three of the Calgary lines can score. Pretty much all of the Vegas lines can score. I like, if you're going with that Edmonton stack or another expensive stack, I think the Vegas third line is an interesting play. They've been a line that I've been playing a lot over the past couple of weeks. So you go Chandler Stevenson and Carrier. They're very cheap. You can pretty much fit them with any stack. So I think they're a good little two-man for you to be able to use if you're paying up for another stack.
All right, fair enough. Honestly, the guy I'm targeting this one is Shea Theodore. We talked about it on Thursday, how great he's been. He's just been a stud. Yeah. He has like 8 points in his last 6 games, and in only one of those games has he not recorded a point. So you can still catch that prop at -118 on FanDuel. I mean, that's free money in my mind. But Tanner, what bets do you have on this one?
Yeah, this is one of the ones we always talk about. The away team on a back-to-back, the first period puck line for Vegas +155 and over 1.5 in the first period -155. But I'm absolutely on Vegas in this one. I think the Flames are more or less frauds at this point, at least compared to expectations coming into the season. They just aren't getting it done. I mean, I'm one of those people too. I thought they were going to be such a good team, especially after how they managed to get Huberdeau and everyone trying to get rid of, now that they had to get rid of Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau there. So I think they've done all right as far as that, but just play-wise, they just have not lived up to expectations. And like Jared said, horrible history in Vegas. So I prefer that. And just looking at it, Vegas is a great defensive team. Like, they don't give up a lot of shots. They don't allow a lot of goals. They have a solid penalty kill. The power play stinks, but Calgary's metrics, looking at the matchup sheet here, like, yeah, they're great. They're scoring 4 goals a game, 36 shots a game over their last 5 road games. But some of those road games, Arizona last night, where they had 55 shots on net. Before that, Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit, not the best defensive teams. Like, a lot of those teams just give up a ton of shots. So I don't think it's a great, not sample size, but like the comparisons there. It's just, I don't think that they're playing up to the level that those numbers are saying that they are playing to. And just being the away team here, I think they're really going to struggle. -130 for Vegas. I like this with the team on the back-to-back. I think you can even go to the 60-minute line and get that +110. I really just prefer Vegas in this one. I tried to find goal scorers on this one, just both sides, but both of these teams are teams that get scoring from, it seems, all 3 lines. Said Vegas has been getting goals from all 3 lines since they came back from the All-Star break. That's been a huge reason for their success. And like we were saying, that third line for Calgary has just been on an absolute tear. So I really struggle to find any of the goal scorers. I would definitely go to those third lines, especially for Calgary, if you wanted those goals, the value on those goal scorers, especially Mangiapane, like we the people had in the chat down there. He's always in play. You get great value for someone like him. Yeah, I had that highlighted there. But yeah, he's +225 as a goal scorer, someone who's always in play. But it's just so hard to fade Vegas when when Calgary's just been so bad when they get down there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like 130 is typically a little bit more juice than I want to take on.
Yeah.
But I just think this is a smash spot. Always gets tricky with the puck line. So I think you just pay up a little bit, go grab that line.
Yeah.
For sure. Next game on slate, Vancouver at St. Louis. St. Louis, we talked about on Tuesday how terrible they've been since O'Reilly left. Their woes continues. They got smashed by Carolina 4-1. Taking on a team not as good in Vancouver, but Vancouver's been pretty strong. Even losing Horvat, their offense has stayed potent. So don't love this game, but if I was going to take a stab at it, I would absolutely grab Vancouver at even money. What do you think there, Tanner?
I like the over in this one. I think we see some goals here. I mean, I know it's sitting right at 7. You're getting +110 for that. But the Blues are also getting back. I know they've struggled without O'Reilly, but they're getting Brandon Saad back in the lineup. That's going to be a big boost. Pavel Buchnevich is going to be back in the lineup, so that's going to be a big help. And being on home ice, it's just – I think Vancouver, they're not as terrible as, especially as they started the year, but I don't think they're that great of a team. I think the Blues are going to kind of sort themselves out after losing O'Reilly. I think this is a good spot for them. I mean, Vancouver is just atrocious defensively. The goaltending a big issue. They don't allow that many shots, but their penalty kill is 65%. They're allowing over 4.5 goals against a game. They're just a broken team when it comes to playing defense. They just don't know how to do it. And you can absolutely go to some of these goal scorers like Jordan Kyrou. He's just been a man on a mission. He's one of the best players out there. He's plus 135 as a goal scorer. Buchnevich is a great player as a goal scorer. He's plus 205. I really like some of these guys down there, but yeah, I do think St. Louis takes this one. I don't think I'm confident enough to take that one outright. It's minus 120. I'd prefer more juice on it, honestly. A little closer to pick them or even plus money for that. But the over is definitely where I'd be playing this one. It's right at 7. I don't mind risking the push there, but you're getting plus 110 on two teams that aren't great defensively and definitely have the offensive firepower to hit that total.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. If you caught the playback, Nate Defy, Mangone, myself, and Crane, we talked about this St. Louis squad, and they're just bad. It's probably going to be profitable to just bet against them for the remainder of the season. Binnington, such a diva. He's given up on the year, so I don't really have high expectations from him. Jared, what's your play here?
Yeah, I don't have high expectations for him here, but I do tonight. I think St. Louis wins this game. I think getting some of those guys back will definitely help the lineup. The goaltender on the opposite side is I'm going to pull in nades here. Artur Slavs.
Good enough.
I do not have a lot of faith in him. I'm not a huge fan of using any of these pieces in daily fantasy. I think you could maybe take a stand on Thomas and Kyrou, but I'm not too thrilled with it. I think Parayko is a great play. So Torrey Krug's been out, and he's definitely stepped up for them. He's getting like 24, 25 minutes, and he's hit over 10 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4. So for a 4K defender, I think he's in a solid spot for you here tonight. And I think there's going to be a lot of shots and a quick moving game. So I think he could get a decent amount of block shots here. So I like him the most out of this game. For offense, I would lean on the playbook. I think Nate's if I like some of them, but I don't think I'm going to get there.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's a dicey one. As Tanner kind of said, Cameron, I wouldn't fault anyone for going either way. Just probably going to be a gross game. I don't think it'll have too many eyes on it. Next one, a little bit more intriguing. Boston Bruins visiting the Seattle Kraken. Stanley Cup matchup, maybe 47-1 if you want to take a stab at that. Seattle, slight dog here at home, taking on the number 1 team in the league. Olmark and Grubauer in the net. This is going to be a fun game. It's going to be an exciting one. I just don't want to go the chalk move. I feel like Boston's the right play here, but I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about this one, Tanner?
I don't know. Obviously Boston is, if they're playing fantastic, but minus 180 favorites. I don't know if they're quite that. Seattle's not an easy team to play against. We talk about all the time how they just come at you wave after wave. And their last matchup in Boston, I believe, was the first regulation loss the Bruins had either like all season or something, or at home. I can't remember. It was some milestone victory for the Kraken there. But they're just a tough team to play against. And like you said, Allmark is in that, and I believe Grubauer. So you're getting under 6 at minus 120. I think we see like a 4-2 style game, something like that. I don't really know who wins. It's tough, like you said, tough to fade Boston. So I don't really know if I get on the Kraken at plus 155. I don't mind it being a home dog. They are a solid team, I think, but I definitely would go the under on this one. I'll probably just be staying away. I do like Jared McCann as a goal scorer. He's always in play. It's just so tough with these Kraken, though, trying to figure out who the goal scorers are going to be. It's just every night, they're picking names out of a hat, and then that guy goes out and scores. So it's really tough for me to pick that. But overall, I like the under on this one. I had a tough time figuring out who I really liked for these last 2 games here. So the under is what I prefer here.
Yeah, hard to argue with that one. As a reminder, Seattle went to Boston in January, shut them out 3-0. So I mean,
and that was with Allmark in net too. If Swayman was in net, you could make a case that way, but Allmark was in net that night, and Martin Jones was in net for the Kraken. So just tough to say.
I think the under is really the only safe play here. Mm-hmm. But what are your thoughts, Jared?
Yeah, I think sometimes, when you have a large slate like this, you just cross some games off. I think this is an under game. I'm just going to cross it off. I won't hate on anybody for, taking a stab at a one-off for Pasta. But, if you look across the matchup sheet, they're pretty equal. Obviously, Boston's a better team, but they look pretty equal over the last, 10 to 15 games. From an offensive and defensive perspective. So no pieces for me here for daily fantasy, and I'm going to go on the under.
Are both goalies just outrageously priced?
So Olmark's the highest priced goalie on the slate at 8.5. I usually tend to not like to spend up because there's always some weird scenarios where like the highest priced goalie, even if he lets in like 2 goals, you might not see a ton of shots, and then you're in a bad place, especially with using so much salary up. So I would probably not use him, and I lean Boston here, even though I'm not going to choose them. So I would not go Grubauer either.
Yeah, fair enough. We got last game. Nashville Predators visiting the San Jose Sharks.
This is a gross one.
Yeah. The spread surprisingly close. Nashville is only a -120 favorite on the road. They beat Vancouver in a shootout when they played on Tuesday. San Jose just beat Seattle 4-0. So, I mean, kind of similar to Columbus. They've been playing surprisingly well since the break. But still, they're still San Jose. We can't forget that. So I feel inclined to take Nashville at such a decent payout. But are you going to talk me into the Sharks? Jared, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I like Nashville in this matchup. This is a tough game to end on. Pretty gross. I love Saros. I think if you're playing cash play, you see Saros as your goaltender. And I think he is, pretty good shot to be a decent goalie in GPPs as well. So he will be high owned. Keep that in mind. And usually when goalies are very, very high owned, they tend to bust. But I just think it's hard for him not to have a good game here, especially with Timo Meier not playing tonight. I'm going to guess that he is not actually injured. He's probably, getting ready to get moved to another team. And he's not playing on the slate tonight. So San Jose is just tough to look at. If you look at their lines, it's hard to go with them here. Nashville, I think they're in an interesting flop lag position. They had a lot of their lower priced guys score goals in the last game, and so it was pretty spread out scoring wise. They're all really cheap, so this is another option for people that are going with that Edmonton stack. You can look at Nashville against this pretty awful San Jose defense, and pick off a few cheap guys to put in your lineup if you're going really expensive with your other stack. I don't love it, but it's an easy way to pair up with that, and just keep in mind that that's probably what most people are going to do if they spend up for Edmonton. So that's probably why I'm not going to do that.
Fair enough. That's our slate. Nice quick show, gentlemen. Anything to add before we get to best bets?
No, just on that one. Yeah, no Timo, and the Sharks are just a garbage team.
Yes. Yeah. Any plays though, Tanner? I mean, would you take it Nashville?
I don't mind it at -120. Like you said, it's a solid spot for him, but I like Saros. As far as I think you take a stab at a few just like value goal scorers, like without Timo out there, Barabanov, he gets a bump up to that first line and first power play. He's plus 260 as a goal scorer, although I think Saros is a fantastic goalie tonight. As far as the Nashville Predators are going, I also like Nino Niederreiter. He's a guy who definitely doesn't get the credit I think he deserves. He's plus 235. You're just getting great payout for guys who are in fantastic spots. No Forsberg out there, so Niederreiter's kind of been the guy who got the bump up from that. So I really like that. But yeah, minus 120. I don't mind a stab at Nashville, but I really don't have a lot of interest in this one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thanks so much for joining us. We got our best bets, but before we do that, please hit the like button. Only thing we ask in return for doing this incredible show for y'all. JT, so glad you asked. So we'll get to best bets right now. My favorite stack is Vegas. I just think this is a smash spot for them. Coming off that loss against Chicago, hosting the Flames, I will have a heavy focus of Vegas in my lineup for sure. And my best bet, though, is coming out of the Penguins-Edmonton game. Goal scoring bets have just been horrid for me on this show. The alt line is where I've been making my money. I believe I'm 2 for 2, so I'm going to take a stab at another. Edmonton, minus 1.5, paying out at plus 200 on DraftKings. That's my best bet. That's my best stack. Jared, what do you have?
Hi, my best bet is Matt Boldy to score plus 205. Going to roll with that. He hasn't scored in 10-plus games. For stacks, I'll give like a high, middle, low. My favorite high price is Tampa, Braden Point, and Kucherov. My favorite middle is New York 2, Rangers 2. And then for a cheap one, I like that third line for Vegas. So that would be Stevenson, Carrier. So those are 3 I like, and I love Ovechkin as a one-off tonight.
Solid. Tanner, close us out.
Yeah, as far as I'll give my best bet is it's not the juiciest thing in the world, but Tampa Bay Lightning money line parlayed with the over 5.5, you get plus 105. Not going to try and get too crazy with that one because I've been getting my ass chewed by those. As far as goal scorers go, I'm sticking the opposite of Jared, I guess. I'm going with Joel Eriksson at plus 194. He's been shooting the puck a ton lately, and I just love the spot he's in tonight where he doesn't have to play defense.
I like it. That's our show, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. I do believe you're going to be out Saturday, so likely no show. Go follow the Run Pure Twitter page, though. You can keep up with all the latest on that. We will be back next Tuesday, 3 Eastern. Again, thank you for joining us. And as always, Run Pure.